Trucker Dave here, and today we are going to be talking bodywork and the pitfalls of bodywork and how to find cheap bodywork when you're looking at a used car. So I'm going to show you the difference between bad bodywork, good bodywork, and just sheer neglect, because I have all three in my driveway. We're going to start with neglect. This is my 1977 Olds Cutlass Supreme, which I did the video on rust about. It's been severely neglected in its previous life, and it's had a bunch of patchwork, not so much welding, but just trying to cover up rust and preventative stuff, but it's been real difficult. And I'm going to do a video on this, on how primer is not rust prevention, but that's coming up here soon. But this is what neglect looks like, and as the previous video showed, there's all sorts of rust that is set in. I don't mind neglect too much, just because it's a symptom of just not taking care of your stuff. It's not all that hard to fix on the grand scheme of things, because you're not repairing somebody else's mess ups as you are with bad body work. So neglect isn't horrible, it's just preventable. But you know, when we're talking about a 42-year-old car right there, yeah, it's, you know, you're gonna have some neglect. So now we're going to go look at some bad body work. Behind me is my 1978 Ford F-250 that has been seen in my other video having to deal with electrical. This has had a lot of bad body work done to it. We start with a hood, you know, with the repaint. Whoever did the paint did not do a good job. They just basically sprayed it with Krylon or whatever they had. You know, you can see the old paint here flaking off because the surface wasn't prepped properly. A little bit of rust. And this is just almost cheap house paint. The front fenders look pretty good from a distance, but when you get closer and the paint started falling off, this is Bondo under here. So this is completely rotted out along here where these typically rot out. So that's something to look for. And around here, they patched together the cab corners with Bondo, and it looks like, I'm not even sure what that is. It looks plastic. It almost feels like Plasti-Weld, but they did that and then painted over it. So of course that was going to rust eventually, but when you don't prep your body surface properly, this happens. I mean, this is all going to have to be replaced, you know, just because. You know, the cab corners on these cars are not good, so that's something else to be mindful of. And when you're looking at these trucks, make sure you bring a magnet with you. The other cab corner is still metal. It's not bad, but you know, you've got to reach up under here to make sure it's still in good shape. It's got a little bit of rust starting here, but because of the previous life, all this rust here is from these big tires kicking up rocks and stuff into it. And since they didn't wash the truck and didn't do a good job, you know, with preventive maintenance, these kind of things happen. There's a lot of things on this truck that could have been prevented because of preventive maintenance. A lot of just washing your truck and keeping the mud and keeping it clean, you know, after you go out and have fun with it. That would have solved a lot of this problem, but this goes back to neglect. Now we're going to talk about competent body work with my 73 Torino. I actually paid a body shop, a good body shop that specialized in classic cars. I paid them to replace the quarter panel and the rear roll pan, which they did. I have an original 73 fender and an NOS roll pan on the back. When I bought this car, somebody had driven underneath and rolled this trunk up, and then the person who had had it before me had actually backed into a post right next to the license plate and bent that in. So this roll pan along the bottom's all brand new, and I got a used quarter panel from Sun Valley in Phoenix, or I think it's outside of Phoenix or Tucson. A good rust-free quarter panel. It was delivered, it was inspected, and any dings and dents were taken care of. There's virtually no filler in this at all. It's been done very professionally. All the lines add up. They used color match primer. This is primer. This is not paint, but it's sealed. And they did it along the body lines and along this line here where the factory attached the roof to the quarter panel. They literally got it all. And then, you know, down this seam here. So that, you know, that looks good. And it cost me about $4,200 for all of it. But you know, it's good money if you don't know how to do it or you're not good at doing it, you know. And I'll tell you this, spend the money. You will never regret spending the money. I'm not joking. Clint Eastwood once said a man has to know his limitations, and I know mine when it comes to body work. I'm just not very good at it. Can I do it? Yeah. Will it look good? It's mediocre at best. So that's why I pay somebody to do this, and with the other stuff out here, that's what I practice on, but not the Torino, because that's my baby, and I want it to look good. So just, if you're not sure about what you're doing, get help. Don't attack it by yourself, because there's a lot of good people out here, and with the rise of social media and YouTube, there's a lot of neat things you can learn for not a whole lot of money. And there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you learn your craft because they have perfected theirs. So just use the resources that are available. And if there's nobody around and you want to try, you know, doing a project like on my Oldsmobile, it's not going to hurt anything, you know. So just, you know, have fun and keep learning, and try to surround yourself with good people who know how to do it, because that'll help you in the long run. So I hope you enjoyed this short video on bodywork, and I'll see you next video. Thanks.